Hello! Welcome to Inky Art School. This video was a live class I held on Facebook as part of my free 10-day Inky Art School course. You can watch all 10 videos and get the free downloads I mention at www.johannabasford.com/Inky Art School. I'll pop a link below. And if you like this class, be sure to check out my book, How to Draw Inky Wonderlands. It's jam-packed with easy-to-follow, step-by-step tutorials, creative project ideas, and of course, it wouldn't be an inky adventure without some pages to colour. Thanks for watching and have fun. Hello! Welcome to day 10 of Inky Art School. Who can believe it's day 10 and it is exactly 3 o'clock on the dot. Made it. What a hustle. Thank you so much for joining us. If this is the first time you're watching the live feed, hello. If you're catching up later, lovely to have you along. It is indeed the last day of Inky Art School. So please don't be sad it's over. Please be glad that it happened, as they say at the end of all good things. So today we are going to do a lovely drawing tutorial, but I want to quickly say thank you so much to everyone who's come along and joined me on this experience. It has been a very enlightening 10 days, but more so really inspiring to see the stories of so many people who thought they could never draw, who had been told they couldn't draw, who maybe tried to draw and it just wasn't working for them and had kind of given up on that being their creative path. You guys did it. You took what I showed you and those tricks and tips and you gave it your all. And I think you can tell, go hop on this page, look at the gallery post and see all the stuff that you guys are drawing. That is incredible. I am so proud of you. Oh, it's like a proud teacher. It's exactly what it is. While we're speaking about your amazing accomplishments, look at these. So here are a few gallery images from today. Well, not from today, that I printed out today. First off, now, I know that yesterday's tutorial wasn't this, but it needs recognition. So, this is Patricia's birds. Look what she has done. They are super pretty. She's drawn all of these on. This is a page that is in the book, but I only drew the branches. And Patricia has added her bird. She's added this little a butterfly here, and these ones actually, and this caterpillar, and she's made her own colouring page, which is exactly what we were hoping for. Oh! This was Patricia's birds, and they are beautiful. Next up, I wanted to show you Karen's beautiful framed print that she did. So Karen has taken the floral garland that we did, I think maybe like day 2 or something, and she's added a bit of text and a quote. Actually, I think it's a passage from the Bible. And she's framed it up and she's made the most beautiful personal gift. Well done. Super proud of you. That is exactly what I was hoping for. Ain't no watercolour landscape is going to be as useful as that. Do you know what I mean? It's just finding creative skills that are super useful. And this, super useful. Which brings us to my favourite. This is Tracy's. Look what Tracy, let me zoom out. Tracy has made this. This is hand-inked letter writing paper. So she has added a symmetrical sort of crest flourish up here. She's got a little bumblebee. And then look at this beautiful foliage she's got. So she's now going to write a letter to somebody in there. And if you got that through the post, would you not be like, oh my goodness, this is the best letter I have ever received in my life. This person has taken so much time. Even look at these little details that she's got here. Let me zoom in. Oh, so that would have taken ages to do all that cross-hatching. I just think it's so personal, so sweet. And as well as doing letter paper like this, you could do journal pages. Oh, just so lovely. Well done, Tracy. I'm hoping that we have better connection now. What I have to do is just end the broadcast and restart it and hope for the best. I don't even know why that happens. The internet here is usually really good. They are emptying a dumpster, a skip outside. I have no idea if that would affect the internet connection. I'm guessing not. So, gremlins. will we do some drawing? I think so. Today we are going to draw the final tutorial, and quite fittingly that is going to be how to draw the last page of the new book. Oh, you can't see it there. How to Draw Inky Wonderlands. So here's the book, and we are going to draw this. Ta-da! So it's going to be it's quite an intense, quite long tutorial, and we have to finish on the hour today. So I'm thinking we just dive in and I'll yabber away while we're drawing. No point in me doing this and just talking to you when we could be drawing at the same time. It is a multitasking dream. So grab your pens and paper and your pencils and let's, my friends, draw some pictures. Okay, so I am going to draw on my, oh hello, nice to see you back. I've lost the comments on the live feed, but I can see them on my laptop. I know, I don't know what happens, guys. No idea. No idea. I'm going to draw on this. This is my usual layout paper. And I have a top trick to share with you. So I know some people were having issues with using their compass. So here's the top trick. Don't just use it on a single sheet of paper on your table and try and make it work like that. You absolutely have to have it on a pad of paper. Look, see how much is there? Because you see this metal edge, you kind of need to poke it in and it needs to sort of have something to grip onto. If you just did it onto one sheet of paper on your desk, it's like there's not enough to anchor it. So I always use it on a pad of paper, and if you don't want to like indent all the sheets below, just use one sheet of paper and maybe put a magazine or something underneath it, but absolutely don't use it on a hard surface. So we are going to start off, if you want this in the middle, fold your paper, find the centre. I'm just going to wing it. Pop the pointy end in first, grab a hold of the top and draw your circle. Oh, it's really bright today. Can you even see that? Let me zoom in a bit. There we go. Okay, next up, use your ruler. And I am just going to draw a line above, a little dot above and below the centre point, so I can still see the centre. Oh, is that lead about to, just finished my lead. Get a new one. Thingy's down, and then I'm just going to draw a horizontal line like that and like that. Now, if you want to be super precise and make sure that this is exactly straight, you could always pop a sheet of tracing, squared paper underneath, and you would line it all up. And I mean, to my mind, that isn't going to be exactly straight, but it's straight enough for me, folks. Okay, now we're going to start drawing our florals. So using your clicky pencil, I just like to draw a couple of big things first. So let's have a big bloom here. And because we're only going to see a bit of it, you don't need to worry too much about getting your petals all evenly spaced. You just kind of want them roughly the same size. So there we go, one big flower. And let's do a couple of daisy-like ones here. So as you can see, I'm just going up to this straight line. Let's see if we can zoom in a bit more today. Oh no, wrong way. That's a bit better. So we'll do the top half first. There we go. I'm just going to ignore that other circle that I drew there. Do it a bit further along. And do one here, I think. So the idea is, this is like a inky tangle of flowers and leaves. And we have space in the centre for the text, and that can be a quote, a name, a word. It could be nothing, you could just leave it blank. But that is the general idea. Let's draw some leaves. So everything in the top half should look like it's growing up the way, and everything in this half should look like it's growing down the way. So for example, I'm not about to draw a flower coming like down from here, like this. No, everything has to go up, although that might look quite nice, but just not for this application. I'm also going to try and not go too much over this outline, although I will a little bit, because that keeps it looking a bit wild. You don't want to be going all over the shop. Okay. And also, don't forget about foliage. You know, all florists use a lot of foliage, and they will tell you that the foliage is just as important as the flowers. So make room for those leafy greens. There's a kind of tulipy thing going on here. Friday is always a really busy day in the car park outside my studio because there's a hairdresser's. I'm in this business unit and where I have the studio. I think loads of people must get their hair cut on Fridays in preparation for the weekend. This is like a little cow parsley thing. Do something here. I think I'll make this a daisy, so side daisy, so like a half moon segment there, and then petals coming down the way, and then have one going this way as well. And I think it looks quite nice when things are overlapping each other, so it looks quite dense. So like that one is overlapping this one. And we'll add some wee little leafy bits in here. And then it needs some quite tall things up here, obviously. So it's like a taller kind of section. So let's do a sprig like this. Make these kind of carnation-y type blooms. I'm not actually a big fan of a carnation. But they are quite nice to draw. Really don't like drawing roses. All simply look like cabbages. I think I've said this before, so you won't see many roses in my books, if any. Somebody once said to me, you could do a book all about English country cottages with roses. And I remember thinking, oh, you know, it would just be like the cabbage book, wouldn't it? It would just be a book full of cabbages. Nice idea, but I am definitely not the girl to execute that dream. I'll leave that one for someone else. So anyone else thinking about doing a colouring book, that idea is definitely up for grabs, and somebody in the community, at least one person, definitely wants it. There's definitely a market there. Maybe your roses are better than mine. It's not that I can't draw them, I just always think they look cabbagey, and I would rather draw other things. Right, this is a bit of like a blah, 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 blah. This is a bit like a fern. So when we're drawing in pencil, we can keep it quite sketchy. You don't need to be too particular, but I do find it helps to have things all mapped out so that you're not going in cold with the ink, so to speak. Oh, that's annoying me. I should have what am I putting in there? I'm gonna have a think about that a bit. I'm gonna do a few more flowers up here. I'm gonna do like a big starbursty kind of one. Just check our connection's okay. Seems to be alright. There we go. And let me do another one. No, I think we'll just do one of them. I might do a few more of those type things. Or, do you know what I quite like? I might do a few of these. I don't even know what these are. It's so busy outside. Oh my goodness, like the entire world must be getting their hair cut today. I wonder if there's something on. school prom or something. Surely not. Oh, trick-or-treating, whilst I remember thinking about big nights out. Oh my word. Why is Halloween at this time of year? It was so cold. The kids were so good though. It's boys outside. There's quite a lot of oil companies in this building. And it's all lads. And yeah. And they all go to the gym a lot. They all seem to eat a lot of protein. They're so funny. A few big leaves. Oh yes, so trick-or-treating. Freezing cold. Kids were so well behaved. Bit of indecision on the etiquette of whether or not you can knock on a door if the lights are on, but there's not a pumpkin outside. See, my thinking was the pumpkin outside is the international sign of, yep, it's cool, we've got sweets, we're prepped, come on in. And we did try to explain this to the kids, but there was a gang of them, they just got carried away to the point where they were just in a frenzy of door knocking. But everyone in the little town, bless them, was so nice. And what a haul of sugar they got. I don't really know what to do with all that. I mean, I'm not one of those mums that doesn't let their kid have any sugar or sweets, but we have got a lot. And a lot of like candies and things. I worry about them choking on. Like, I really actually don't mind a bit of chocolate, but gobstoppers and things and like little hard candies might have to just be gently lost in the passage of time, slowly from the bowl. And I actually had to go to bed really early last night because there was so much sweets in the house that I was scared my lack of self-control would mean some sort of bizarre feeding frenzy. And Evie would wake up this morning and there would just be wrappers and a very embarrassed mother. And I would have to drive to Tesco early in the morning and top her up again. And yes, I have seen those Jimmy Kimmel videos where parents do that to their kids. That's hilarious. But I'm too scared of my 5-year-old to do that. I'm going to fill this, I'm going to tweak this bit because I feel like it's a bit empty. And do this. And can you hear that whistling? I think that's Forbes. He works next door. I'm not feeling it here. I'm going to do some curls of grass there. And maybe not. I'm not quite sure what's going on with that, but I'm going to leave it for a minute and come back to it later. Let's carry on down here. We've got quite a big flower here. See this big one here? So I'm going to balance that by doing quite a big one here. What you wouldn't want to do is to have a big one here and a big one here. Better to have them sort of offset against each other. And I'm actually going to do this one a bit like a peony. And that's the good thing about doing florals that aren't botanically correct. This might not look like a peony, but because it's stylized enough, I can usually get away with that. So that's another trick, folks. Don't be penned in by realism. Or, as my husband often says, don't let the truth be a barrier to a good story. There we go. I'm going to do a couple of little bits going over the line. So as you can see, that petal there is definitely going to go over the line. And maybe this one. Having a few little bits that do stops this being a hard edge and just makes it look like that instead of that this has just been banner has just been laid over the top, that the botanicals are sort of growing up and round it. All will become clear in a minute. I forgot to charge my watch up for days and it keeps flashing at me. I need to remember to do it after. So I find the pencil drawing is the bit that demands the most creativity, and inking, that's kind of a little bit easy, isn't it? Because you're just sort of going over what's already been drawn, and you don't, it's just easier. It's always this bit, the sorting out, the working out where everything is going to go, that is a bit trickier for me. So it's almost, once you've done this bit, the next bit is easier but also different. So it's a different set of skills. Anyone who's finding that their hand is shaking a little bit and their lines are wobbly, that is totally normal. That's why when I'm doing commercial work, I draw bigger than the final print size. So for example, if something was going to be printed this size on like a chocolate box, I might draw it 3 times bigger, because then when it's scanned in and digitally printed, we shrink it down, which crisps up the detail, and any wobble is eliminated because it's now so small. The reason I don't do that with colouring books is it can make the detail really, really tight, which is quite tricky to colour. I mean, some people love it because that means that they've got lots of little individual spaces that they can colour, and it's less of a book about big open spaces for blending and more a book with tinier, not tinier, but smaller panels that you can then use for doing sort of individual bits of colour as opposed to blended effects. So for example, Lost Ocean is a brilliant small panel book, and by contrast, a Magical Jungle is a typical large panel book with bigger bits, larger leaves, so that you can do blending, add your own details, add shading, all those good things. I'm going to do another, just being mindful of my spacing. Oh, what time are we at? Oh, 25 past. There we go. Oh, do you know, I quite like that. I might just do a few like that. Try and keep things in odd numbers. I think I've said this before. A 3 is nice. 1 is lovely. 2 or 4 can look a bit odd. I don't know why. I don't know. Florists, tell us why. I didn't do graphic design at art school, and I'm sure if I had, I would have been told something about like aesthetically pleasing proportions. And I remember my friends that were doing graphics speaking about like, what do they call it? Oh, there's like, is it like perfect proportions, or I don't know. You see them with their diagrams with like triangles and all the different margins on a page, and apparently that's the ideal place to put something, and you should offset by this much, and da 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 da. But as I say, I was doing textile design, so I missed all that. Okay. So I just rubbed out a bit of our line out there. I'm going to add that in. I'm also going to put, maybe not. Yeah, no. I'm going to take that out again. I think it's also worth pointing out, I have to change things a lot. So anyone that thinks that when I draw, I just sit down with my pencil and draw it, then ink it, you've seen firsthand how much I change things. So it might be that a bit isn't quite working, or that I've got a funny gap that I need to fill. I don't really know what to do in here. What will I do? Do some more bluebells. I'm going to do one big, let's do a couple of little things. So yeah, don't panic if things aren't coming out exactly right first time. I change things loads. Loads and loads and loads. case in point, that looks too tucked under there. Another trick I do is if a piece isn't working or is looking a bit weird in one section, I won't go over that bit again and again and again. I'll give it a couple of stabs, and then like up here, up here where this bit isn't quite working yet, I just leave it and I'll go back to it, because I honestly find the more you plug away at something, the more frustrated that I get. So just leave it, and then I usually find that by the time I come back to it, I'm either A, not as annoyed by it, or not annoyed, but like it just think it's growing on me. So I'm like, oh yeah, that looks okay. Or I've come up with an idea of how to fix it. So win-win. But one thing that doesn't seem to work for me anyway is just sweating over it and drawing over that bit again and again and again. And often you're just going to wreck your paper anyway. So it's not a win-win situation. Just move on. Do this one slightly smaller. And having just told you to do things in threes, I actually think I'm only going to do 2 of them. So clearly don't listen to what I'm saying. Little curls there. We're a bit sparse on here, aren't we? Let's do some leafy bits. I'll do a couple of wee branches. I like these like sort of grassy curly things. There we go. And here is a bit empty. I might just do some of these. I don't even know what these are. Just kind of like little ferny berry things. This is a bit empty. I might just fill this with spots. Oh, I might do that up there actually. Just fill it with some little dots. That'll do. If in doubt, add a few little dots and some leaves. Okay. I'm tempted to say that that is us. I am going to add that petal and that petal over there. And that's over there. I'm just checking to see how many overlaps we have. Better to not have a big flower like this as part of an overlap. It's better to have a little details, like a little bit of a leaf. Not this big flower, not this big flower, just the little bits. But that's us. So that is the quick pencil sketch. Worth seeing in the real world. Oh, do you know what? I really don't like this bit. Let me do that bit again. I would take longer to do that. I've done this quickly just because I'm really conscious of time and because we had the issue with the connection at the start. But I would take longer to do this normally. And the one that you saw in the book, definitely longer. I would say the one that you can see in the book probably took an hour to sketch, slightly less than that to ink, and then I would have faffed about with it digitally to tidy it up, I think. I'm going to make this fern a bit more pronounced. Okay, I think that's us. Yeah, right, let's ink this. So, I'm going to take a new sheet of paper and lay it over the top. I'm just having a quick look at your comments. So many different flowers. Oh, thank you. Yes, Nina. So I think the trick is to try and vary the flowers that you're using. I love using old botanical reference books because obviously you're always better to draw from real life, but you know, it's difficult to get real flowers to draw from. So you can either grow them in your garden and draw them, which is beautiful and good for you. Not everyone has a garden though, and some of us live in Scotland where we have like a 6-month winter. And buying fresh flowers is so expensive. So what I do is I try to not look at pictures online because I think everyone looks at the same pictures. So unless you are sort of digging away and finding quite unique resources, if you just like Googled tulip and then drew the first tulip that you see, chances are a whole load of other people have drawn that tulip as well, which is maybe fine for, you know, if you really just want to draw a tulip. But if you're then going to use your artwork, if you're going to try and use it on anything commercial, or I don't know, I find that you might end up all looking at the same resource. So if you can find unique places to look for things, brilliant. Also, while we're speaking about resources, I'm somebody who finds it really useful to look at something when I'm drawing. So if I've, you know, in these flowers, I know really well because I've drawn them so many times, but I always like to look at books and references to get ideas of like new petal shapes and new ways of drawing leaves and new different little patterns that I could find on a leaf. But it's not a good idea to look at Pinterest, I find, for things like that, because it's a bit of a dark hole on Pinterest sometimes, and I just worry that I end up looking at the same images that everyone else is looking at. And I think, you know, that it's quite nice to sort of seek out something a little bit different. And also, if you're trying to just copy a project that somebody else has done exactly, and I do realise the irony of what I'm saying, yeah, I think it can be tricky if you don't know how they did it. So it's different with this because we're showing you exactly how to do things. But for example, you might be comparing your work to an image that somebody's done that's been massively digitally altered, and it might look as though they've drawn it by hand or they've got this crazy new technique, but it could be that it's almost entirely done digitally. And in that case, you're sort of comparing yourself and aiming at something that's not achievable. Different if you're just looking at it and you're not fussed about the outcome, in which case, knock yourself out. The only other bad thing about Pinterest is, oh my word, I get sucked into there. I'll go on to like maybe look at a couple of ideas for maybe like arts and crafts projects for the kids, all the best intentions. And like an hour later, you emerge having looked at tropical beach resort outfits, not really necessary for me in the northeast of Scotland, ideas for painting a nursery wall. Don't really have a nursery anymore, my kids are much bigger. Do you know what I mean? Like you end up looking at things that are completely irrelevant, not necessary, and you're just wasting your time. Anyway, that's definitely me. So if you're going to go on the internet to look at a resource or to find like an inspiring image, it's a good idea to have a quite clear idea of what you're going on for, and to make sure you use the internet as a tool and not as a distraction or a place to go when you're bored. That, my friends, is a bad use of your time. Okay. So this actually, you see these little leaves that I'm drawing here? This is how I draw seaweed. But I've just morphed it into the leaves for these little tulipy things. So that just goes to show that all the skills in the book are interchangeable, all the different techniques and tricks. You could take something that's meant for the ocean section and add a few petals to it, and voila, you've turned it into a cute little floral. The laptop screen's just gone off. Oh, someone just said I'm a Pinterest addict. Tony, I know. Do you not find as well, though, that it's just so unachievable? Like, I know a few Pinterest mums and they go on there and they get all the ideas and like they do it really well, and you know, props to them, they're really good at it. And I'm talking like their snack plates for their kids when they come home from school look amazing, and the kids have got like the really cute snack boxes, and it just works really well. I just can't be that person. I'm like the Pinterest fail. I do like a pretty pin though. Okay. Oh, someone's just said, Debbie Louise, bit of an odd question, but could you turn your page the right way around instead of drawing upside down, or would that unbalance things? I'm not drawing upside down, Debbie. I'm really confused by that. It doesn't really matter which way the page is. Just do whatever works well for you. Quite often when I'm inking, I'll rotate the page because my hand just won't go. Like for example, if I was doing like a bit down here, I might turn it like this just because it's easier. But I think you just do what's best for you. I wouldn't worry about that. Okay. So remember, we've got this horizontal line here. So for the things that aren't going to go over the line, make sure you don't bust over that with your ink, otherwise you've got a bit of a predicament. Okay. No seagulls today, guys. You noticed? I wonder where they've all gone. It's maybe a calm day out at sea, and they've all gone back out to sea. So for inking this, I'm using my 0.2 pigment liner, my absolute fave. Oh, and as if on cue, there's the seagulls back again. They sound quite far away tonight. I'm gonna do this. Do this behind the flower. Oh, I think I've moved my page a little bit. That's annoying. And I'll straighten you up a bit. There we go. So if you do find that your tracing page below is slipping or moving, not an issue if you're inking straight over your pencil lines and you're going to erase them, because obviously there's nothing to move. But if it is slipping, you can use a bit of magic tape, Scotch magic tape, just to hold it in place, and that will stop it going anywhere. There we go. So I know a few people have been saying they're sad that Inky Art School is over, and yeah, I know, I'm a little bit sad too. It has been so nice to have your digital company for the last few weeks. Obviously, I usually draw in the studio by myself, so I don't speak to anyone, although this is kind of like speaking out loud and then reading your comments later, which is a bit like a weird pen pal relationship. But it has been really nice, and to have all your quick feedback and to see your comments. But Inky Art School, alas, must come to an end. But make sure you are signed up for Inky Emails, my newsletter, because I've got a few other things coming up that if you liked this, I think you're going to enjoy as well. And I wouldn't want you to miss it. And, you know, social media algorithms, there's a good chance that you would miss it on Facebook and Instagram. So the safest thing to do is to sign up to the newsletter and just have that stuff sent to your inbox. I don't spam you. If anything, it's the opposite. I often get emails from people going, I signed up for Inky Emails 3 months ago and I haven't had anything. Like, yeah, it's been 3 months since I sent an email. No panic there. I just don't like to send you spam. Same with Inky Art School, actually. So many people were really worried that they'd done something wrong because they weren't getting notifications or daily emails. I was like, no, I just didn't send any. Didn't think you needed that in your lives. A little bit of digital quiet does us all good. Okay. This is quite a big gap up here, so I might draw a little dragonfly in here. It's quite nice because he's a little bit hidden. So the reason that I don't draw the lines first, like those horizontal lines in ink first, is because where the foliage overlaps it, we need to draw that first. But now we can draw it. Also, I'm going to have them come out a bit. So here's the edge of the circle. I'm going to draw my line out to there, which is like 5 millimeters more than the edge of the circle. So look, I didn't go over that petal there. And there's bits where the ink hasn't quite come up to where the line is. That is fine. Just fill that in. You would rather it did that than the opposite, like you'd gone over the line. So if in doubt, go less. A few extra bits. Might do a little stem. Little stem. This is a bit blank. Put in some details here. Now, I'm just drawing these in freehand in ink because I've drawn leaves like this a lot, and also I've probably got quite low standards when it comes to the precision of the inking. Like, I quite like that that's really wobbly. If you were somebody who prefers things to be a bit more precise, just do that bit in pencil first, work it all out, and then you take away the not the risk. See, like that is really wobbly. You take away the freehand nature of it, which is a bit more random. Totally up to you. Do some bits like this. I need to just stop faffing because I could add details to this for hours. Oh my word, and it's 10 to 4. Gosh, I've got a meeting to get to for 1:15, so we have to bash on with this. Right. Ink. If we're going to run out of time, folks, what I'm going to do is we'll obviously finish the tutorial, but I might post another little live video later tonight once I've got the kids in bed, just summing up Inky Art School and giving you some next steps, some little final words of wisdom, because I don't feel like
would just want to end this by signing off and going, right, see you later, no Inky Art School tomorrow, because, you know, it's over. So it's a bit, it's just not very nice, is it? I can't even think what that is. Also, I was just thinking back to trick-or-treating last night. I really, really wanted somebody to give the kids something really random. Like, if they hadn't been expecting trick-or-treaters, but they were so nice that they didn't just, like, hide and not answer the door, and they got something like a slice of toast with jam on it. I just think that would be so funny. The kids are like, what? But maybe that's just my sense of humour. But everybody was so well prepared. Alas, there was no random trick-or-treat snacks. I was trying to think what the most random thing would be, and I think it would have been a Weetabix. I don't know if you get that cereal anywhere else but the UK. But it's like a big kind of like wheat biscuit cereal that you have. And just like having one random Weetabix in your bucket would be hilarious. And also, bless our Evie, because we don't really do trick-or-treating and haven't ever done it before, I hadn't expected to be doing it, but it was a last-minute thing. She didn't have like one of those plastic pumpkin buckets that everyone seems to have to put their sweets in. So bless her heart, she had I have this like plastic big mug that I use for taking my soup to work in. So she just had this Tupperware mug, and she was filling it up with sweets, and every so often it would just get so crammed with confectionery that she was having to offload it into my pockets, and I would just have bulging pockets of candies and chocolate bars and lollipops, which are my least favourite child sweet because of the choking hazard, obviously. So it was just really funny. We were so unprepared. There was a good amount of face paint involved and fake blood. Okay. Oh, how are we doing? Bit of a tense deadline today. So, as ever, please post your pictures when you finish them on the gallery post. I do appreciate that this is a longer tutorial and it's quite a bit more involved, so it's going to take you longer to finish. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to archive the group and essentially close it off for new content and new posts and new comments until Monday. So you've got the weekend to tackle this, any last bits that you want to share. Then after that, if you do want to share your images, just pop them on Instagram and use hashtag Inky Art School, or upload them to the colouring gallery, I know, confusing, on my website, and put them in the How to Draw Inky Wonderlands category. Because I still want to see them, but obviously just you won't be able to put them on here. And I will be so delighted to see all your pictures. And this is just the beginning of your creative adventure. So the stuff that you've done so far is like pieces 1 to 10 of the next few thousand bits of your creative life. So we need a place to put that and to share it. And that should be it. Thank you to everybody who has posted reviews of the book on Amazon, if that's where you got it from. I don't know if you're allowed to post a review if you didn't buy it from Amazon. I don't even know how that works. But thank you so much. My aim has always been with this book to try and get as many people drawing as possible. So that's why we wanted to do this course to sort of, well, I say I wanted to do this course to to show as many of you firsthand what I do and how the method works. You know, and it's one thing to see it in the book, but I think it's quite another to see it done and to hear it talked through, and also to be part of a community where you can share your work. So that was why I did the book. So thank you to everybody who's helping us to get the word out and to show people that it is possible to draw. Like, it breaks my heart when I read these stories of people that were told as children, oh, you can't draw, it's pointless you pursuing that, you're not a creative person. Rubbish. Everybody is creative. You just need to nurture it, to not be scared, and to know a few tricks and tips. You don't even need to know a few tricks and tips, you just need to go for it, but that's easier said than done. And I think having a few tricks or tips makes it easier. So that's what the book is all about. And I'm delighted to say that loads of you have been telling me that you're finding it useful, that it's working, that you are discovering a side of yourself that you didn't know existed, or maybe that you did know existed but it just couldn't get out until now. And also all of you that have found drawing to be beneficial for your mental health and your well-being. You know, it's that is such an important thing, and if something can help you relax, decompress, be happy, be mindful, then that is a good thing. And it's less sweaty than yoga. There we go. Okay. Right. I am... Oh, sorry, I forgot to look up and check. I get so, involved in this, I forget to look up and check where we are, that we're not off the edge of the page. I'm going to fill this line in here. So I just look to see where the foliage is, and then I make sure I don't go over the top of it. There we go. Any little bits where we've not quite reached the edge of the line, just go up there. And what I think looks nice is to make this a double line. What are we doing for time? My watch has died, my laptop's died. Oh, 15:55. There we go. I'm going to make this a double line. So you see how we've got one line there? Just move your ruler down a teeny bit and do another line. Mind anything that you might go over the top of like that. See with this one, I turn it upside down to do the other side because I find it easier to draw a line below as opposed to a line above, just because I can see it better with my ruler. So we're currently upside down. If it's going through loads of bits like that, just leave a gap. You don't even need to go too close to it if you think it's going to be a bit goodly. I'm going to add a few inky details to this. A few little dots. Now, we've made it. Those little dots are so handy. So I do some that are little circles and some that are just literally a dot. And they're just great at filling in any little gaps. Oh, and we're done. Look at that, folks. Let me just zoom out a little bit so you can see the finished thing. So obviously we can work into that a bit more, make some parts darker outline. For example, this flower here, you might just pick out a few of the blooms and go around the outline a second time, which just darkens them and makes them more prominent, makes them look like they're in the foreground, so towards the front of the picture, and it helps the other ones, the other foliage and flowers that are behind it, to sort of fall back, and it gives an idea of depth. So for example, you see how there's a cluster of 3 here, and this one is the uppermost. So it overlaps this one, So it would be this one, the top one, that you would do the thicker outline around. Don't do the thicker outline around the one on the bottom. You want it around the one that's on the top.
Well, that makes sense. Alrighty, folks. Let me zoom out. I'm just going to let you look at that for a second, and then I'll flip the camera back. Hello. Okay. So thank you. Oh, I kept looking for the clock. I forgot my phone was here. I could have just looked at that. Thank you so much for joining me for Inky Art School. We are very close to 4 o'clock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the tutorial here, but I'm going to pop back on to do one last video just to sum up everything that's happened, to give you some tricks and tips for your onward creative adventure. And also to tell you like some housekeeping, like when we're going to shut the group down. Not that we're going to shut it down, but you won't be able to post anything new. All those good things. I'll do that either tonight or tomorrow. Probably tonight. Tomorrow's quite busy. I'll do it tonight once I've got the kids in bed, and we can take it from there. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be back on later on tonight, and I'll just do a quick summing up video. No fancy setup. Probably I'll just be on my phone, but you'll see me then. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Good luck with your last tutorial, and I'll see you soon.